I'd like to welcome you to the next presentation in the series of WORC topical videos. Today's presentation will cover project results that achieve the purpose of the WORC focus areas. I'm Molly Chamberlain from Chamberlain Dunn LLC, a consulting firm based out of Indianapolis, Indiana. We've been working with DRA since round 5 of WORC. The DRA was established in 2000 as a formal framework for joint federal-state collaboration to promote and encourage the economic development of the lower Mississippi River and Alabama Black Belt regions. DRA's region encompasses 252 counties and parishes in parts of Alabama, Arkansas, Illinois, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, and Tennessee. These topical webinars are presented on behalf of DRA to assist applicants with their WORC applications. This video will cover the following objectives. We'll discuss expected results, requirements, outputs, and outcomes, what they are and what they mean for a project. We'll discuss the 3 focus areas of WORC and sample results, how to logically connect expected results to focus areas, as well as with project activities, community needs, and organizational and fiscal capacity, and discuss future reporting requirements if the project is selected. So there are 4 parts of the WORC application, all of which should align to form a complete package. So these include the SF 424 application for federal assistance, the project budget, the project narrative, and attachments to the project narrative. There's another video that gives an overview of each one of these, as well as more specific videos that give even more detail on certain components and subsections. This video focuses on the second component of the project narrative, the project results. As a quick reminder, there are 4 separate sections that comprise the project narrative. The project results that achieve the purpose of WORC are topic of interest here, but also statement of need, project design, and organizational capacity and experience for project success. The entire project narrative, those 4 sections together, are limited to 20 double-spaced standard letter size pages, 8.5 by 11, using Times New Roman 12-point font and 1-inch margins. You have a lot to cover even though you have 20 pages, so our hope is with this video to help you to get the most impact from the space available. Also, I can't stress enough that it's going to serve you well to label each section so that it aligns with the FOA. Use the FOA's words and its terms so that reviewers are not guessing whether you have included each component. Do not make extra work for reviewers. They have a lot of applications to score, so they won't do it. Now let's dive into today's topic of project results and achieving the purpose. The project results section is worth up to 30 points. As described on page 22, results must be specific, measurable, achievable, and reasonable, as well as consistent with the needs, challenges, and other information identified on the statement of need and project activities described in the project description. Results also must be consistent and logical. For example, the total number of participants receiving services shouldn't be lower than the total number obtaining new or enhanced employment. Results for the purposes of the WORC grant include both outcomes, which are project results and/or anticipated benefits, which usually represent a change in things like knowledge, behavior, attitudes, and conditions, and outputs, which are typically products or services resulting from the project. Applicants are expected to identify anticipated results for each of the 3 WORC focus areas. Don't forget that any results listed must meet the requirements we discussed on the previous slide, page 22 of the FOA, including specific, measurable, achievable, and reasonable, consistent with the statement of need and project description, and consistent and logical with each other. So in this section, the FOA requires applicants to demonstrate how they will help achieve the WORC initiative purpose, which is divided into 3 focus areas. So focus area 1 is increasing access to good jobs. For this focus area, all applicants must address the pay good jobs principle by proposing strategies or activities that connect workers with training or employment opportunities in industry sectors that pay wages of at least $15 an hour. Applicants must also address 1 or more of the 7 other good jobs principles through proposed grant strategies and activities. Focus area 2 is prioritizing equity, which includes prioritizing efforts to recruit, enroll, and help employ historically underserved workers, including but not limited to Black, Indigenous, people of color, LGBTQ+ individuals, women, veterans, individuals with disabilities, individuals without a college degree, individuals with substance use disorder, and justice-impacted individuals. Then focus area 3 is sustaining impact, which is designed to ensure that grant impacts are sustainable beyond the project period of performance. Sustainable impacts can be social, such as access to basic services or the reduction of inequalities, economic, which could include things like highlighting job quality that drives equity, environmental, cultural, such as preservation or promotion of cultural identity or heritage, and or supporting efforts to align services across multiple counties or states. We'll talk a little bit more about each focus area and the requirements for reporting associated results. So again, the first focus area is increasing access to good jobs. In this section, first applicants must identify the total number of eligible participants projected to be enrolled during the period of performance and identify the total number projected to enter good jobs, which are defined as training or employment opportunities in industry sectors that pay wages of at least $15 per hour, or the number of participants projected to obtain new or enhanced employment. Applicants must also demonstrate how project strategies will result in the creation, expansion, or improvement of employment aligned with the pay good jobs principle. So see page 4 of the FOA for more explanation on this. In addition to the pay good jobs principle, to receive full points for this section, applicants also must demonstrate how project strategies will result in the creation, expansion, or improvement of employment aligned with one or more of the 7 other good jobs principles. These are listed in Appendix A on pages 52 through 55 of the FOA. Finally, applicants must describe any other results that would address this focus area, including increasing access to good jobs. Examples of project results connected to focus areas are provided in Appendix B. For focus area 1, they're specifically listed on pages 57 and 58. The first example is 100 workers trainees awarded an industry recognized credential or obtain increased wages. The connected activity is develop a registered apprenticeship program, and the connected good jobs principles are pay and skills and career advancement. The second example is 4 employer partners will offer benefits to program participants they hire. It's connected to the established partnerships with employers offering benefits to both full-time and part-time workers activity, and it is connected to the good jobs principle of benefits. Make sure that the results that you list are connected to your proposed activities and statement of need, as well as achievable for your project. And don't forget that the first requirement for this section is identifying total participants projected to be enrolled and total projected to enter good jobs or obtain new or enhanced employment. The second focus area is prioritizing equity. In this section, applicants must identify results that will show how the project will be successful in recruiting and enrolling individuals from marginalized communities. According to the FOA, marginalized communities are those historically underserved and adversely affected by persistent poverty, discrimination, or inequality, including but not limited to Black, Indigenous, people of color, LGBTQ+ individuals, women, veterans, individuals with disabilities, individuals without a college degree, those with substance use disorder, and justice-impacted individuals. Keep in mind that whatever communities your project proposes to serve, you will be held to this by Department of Labor if you are funded. So ensure that your organization has strategies, capacity, and where applicable, partners that will support your success in recruiting and serving your proposed participants. Applicants also must describe how you will be successful in designing or redesigning programs or services to include a primary focus on equitable enrollment, participation, and outcomes in communities the project will serve. Finally, applicants should describe any other results that address prioritizing equity. Some examples of project results connected to focus areas are provided in Appendix B. For Focus Area 2, they're specifically on pages 58 through 60. The first example is 10% increase in participants from identified marginalized communities each year of the grant. It's connected to the activity of establishing a commitment to identify and actively recruit participants from marginalized communities. Note that for an actual application, it likely would be a good idea to be more specific here in which identified marginalized communities your project will target. The second example is 15 new recovery-friendly workplace agreements are developed as a result of the partnerships and grant activities. It's connected to the activity of counseling or assisting employer partners paying $15 an hour to establish hiring practices and workplace structures that improve the chances the employer will hire and retain individuals recovering from substance use disorder. As with the previous focus area, make sure the results that you list are connected to your proposed activities and statement of need, as well as achievable for your project. Focus area 3 is sustaining impact. Applicants are required to describe one or more of the positive impacts that the grant will achieve for individuals, businesses, and communities served. Applicants must identify results that demonstrate how these impacts will be sustainable over the 5 years following the end of the period of performance for the WORC grant. And finally, applicants should describe any other results that address this focus area, sustaining impact. Examples of project results connected to focus areas, again, are provided in Appendix B. For focus area 3, they're specifically on pages 60 and 61. The first example is 3 educational institutions create degree programs to ensure sustainability of the project. The connected activity is establishing new degree programs. The second example is 1 new industry sector agrees to participate in activities following the success of the original grant. It's connected to the activity of expanding partnerships to increase resources, expand a project's footprint across additional counties or states, and identify newer emerging industries or occupations that may provide opportunities for good jobs. As with the previous focus areas, make sure that the results that you list are connected to your proposed activities and statement of need, as well as achievable for your project. As you think about your anticipated results, here are some things to keep in mind. Anticipated results should be closely and logically linked to project activities. Think about it this way. If we do this activity, then it will result in participants being served. For example, if we work on developing a registered apprenticeship program, participants will take part in the program, resulting in 200 participants enrolled and served by the project. Another example, if we conduct employer training related to providing recovery-friendly workplaces for employers offering well-paying jobs, more employers will establish recovery-friendly workplaces, supporting recruitment and retention of individuals in recovery from substance use disorder. Results should be aligned with community workforce and participant needs as described in your statement of need. So think about it this way. These needs exist. If we serve these participants, produce these things, and create these changes, how will that address our specific needs? Results must be aligned with each work focus area. How will your activities and the associated results support increasing access to good jobs, prioritizing equity, and sustaining impact? For example, if you created a registered apprenticeship program and a degree program, think about how will that link participants to good paying jobs and support other good jobs principles. If we prioritize recruiting individuals in recovery from substance use disorder and supporting employers in creating recovery-friendly workplaces, think about how will that prioritize equity. What activities and associated results do we anticipate that will sustain impact? Results must be specific, measurable, achievable, and reasonable. So think about this as who will you serve, how many and by how much will you change things, and by when. These results should be clearly connected to your activities and achievable and reasonable based on your resources, your organizational and financial capacity, your performance history where applicable, and your partnerships. Next, results should be clear. So in other words, a reviewer should be able to understand who is being enrolled and what is being produced and how it links to activities. In addition, definitions should be clear, both internally to the grant writing and future grant implementation team and any partners. For example, how does your project define its participants? What would constitute a program or product, aka deliverable for your project? The clearer your results are understood internally, the clearer they will be to reviewers. Something to keep in mind, however, with specificity. Whatever you write as your results, you will be held to that if funded. For example, if you indicate that you will serve 20 individuals in recovery from substance use disorder and 80 incumbent workers, you will be expected to serve 20 individuals in recovery and 80 incumbent workers. If you write that 50 individuals in recovery from substance use will obtain new or enhanced employment, you will be expected to achieve that. So this is not to tell you how to write your results. Just that while clarity and specificity is important, it's also important for you to be aware that you will need to be prepared to serve exactly who you say you'll serve and achieve exactly what you say you'll achieve. I strongly encourage applicants to read pages 48 through 50 of the FOA, which detail reporting requirements if your project is funded. And we encourage this because this is often a big stumbling point for newly funded applicants, particularly those that have never received Department of Labor grants before. All funded grantees are required to provide quarterly financial reports described on page 48 of the FOA, quarterly performance reports, including record level participant reporting, which I'll talk about in a bit more detail, and quarterly narrative performance reports, which are described on page 50 of the FOA. Record level participant data submissions occur quarterly, and they're submitted through the Workforce Integrated Performance System, aka WIPS. There are many data elements associated with participant reporting. Those can be found on Workforce GPS, which does require free registration to access. I would recommend reviewing the tools and resources on Workforce GPS, particularly the demonstration grant participant data file, which shows all of the participant level data elements that must be reported. Again, this does not really affect your application at this point, but you do need to ensure that your organization is prepared to meet all reporting requirements described on pages 48 through 50 if you are funded. So this slide includes some final tips as well as some lessons learned from current work grantees. Remember that the FOA requires that expected results include total participants enrolled and number of participants anticipated to obtain new or improved employment outcomes. Refer to page 23 of the FOA. Clarity is a must. Make sure that your expected results and connections to the focus areas would be clear to an external reviewer, but also make sure they are clear to you and your partners internally. For example, how are you defining a participant for your project? What would constitute enhanced employment outcomes for your participants? Defining these things up front within your organization and with your partners will not only help reviewers better understand your outcomes, but also will help you start implementing faster if you are funded. Part of the FOA review is ensuring logical alignment between your expected results, those to be achieved by the end of the project, and the ways in which your project, if successful, will help achieve the work focus areas. It's also important to make sure that these results and benefits align to your statement of need. I strongly recommend having partners and/or someone within your organization who may not be as familiar with your project review your expected results in alignment with achieving the work goal in each focus area to make sure they see the logical connections as well. Your expected results also must be realistic. This is vital not only for having a high-quality proposal, but also if your project is funded. Review your organizational, administrative, and fiscal capacity section, your budget, and other data you've used for your needs statement to ensure that numbers and targets associated with your expected results are realistic for your project. This may also be a good place for having partners, as well as someone in your organization not as familiar with your project, to review and make sure that they too agree that targets are reasonable. As I mentioned before, you will be held to your projected results targets. So again, make sure that you're prepared to hit your targets. In addition, if you set targets for specific eligible populations, for example, 100 incumbent workers, 75 new entrants to the workforce, you will be expected to meet those targets for those specific eligible populations if funded. Finally, be prepared. If you are awarded, you will be required to submit data and reports described on pages 48 through 50 of the FOA, which includes quarterly financial and narrative reports, as well as quarterly performance reports that include participant level data. Ensure that you currently have or will be able to implement the data collection and management systems needed to fulfill these reporting requirements if funded. Just a few final reminders before we conclude. Additional videos are available at the website you see here. Start the UEI, SAM.gov, and grants.gov processes ASAP. Technical questions should be submitted to the email address here, reference this FOA number, and include a contact name and phone number. And submit your applications by Thursday, June 20th, 2024, 11:59 p.m. Eastern, and they can be submitted only through www.grants.gov. And that's it for me. I'm Molly Chamberlain. You can reach me at the email address shown here, mc@chamberlaindunn.com. Note that the end of Chamberlain is L-I-N, no A, and I would be glad to answer any questions that I am able to do. And I wish you the best of luck on your application.